Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 23, Translation. One has to make progress in spiritual life by not associating with persons who are simply interested in making money and sense gratification. Not only such persons, but one who associates with such persons should be avoided. One should mold his life. One should mold his life in such a way that he cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. One can be thus elevated by losing taste for sense enjoyment. So you should always have German. Do you have German, Bhagavad? For those who don't understand English, then you should always have German Bhagavatam.
German Bhagavatam, German
So 4:22-23. Purport. In the material world, everyone is interested in money and sense gratification. The only objective is to earn as much money as possible and utilize it for satisfaction of the senses. Srila Shukadeva Goswami thus described the activities of the materialistic persons. Nitraya hiyatena ktam vyavayena chavavayaha diva chathehaya rajan kutumba baranena va. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.3. This is a typical example of materialistic persons. At night, they waste their time by sleeping more than 6 hours or by wasting time in sex indulgence. This is their occupation at night, and in the morning they go to their office or business place just to earn money. As soon as there is some money, they become busy in purchasing things for their children and others. Such persons are never interested in understanding the values of life. What is God? What is the individual soul? What is its relationship with God, etc. Things are degraded to such an extent that those who are supposed to be religious are also at the present moment only interested in sense gratification. The number of materialistic persons who are interested in going back home, back to Godhead, should not only engage in the service of realized souls, but should give up the company of materialistic persons whose only aim is to earn money and employ it in sense gratification. They should also not accept the objective of materialistic persons, namely money and sense gratification. Therefore it is stated, Bhakti parasya nubhavam viraktir anyata asyat. To advance in devotional service, one should be uninterested in the materialistic way of life. That which is the subject matter of satisfaction for the devotees is of no interest to the non-devotees. Simple negation or giving up the company of materialistic persons will not do. We must have engagements. Sometimes it is found that the person interested in spiritual advancement gives up the company of material society and goes to a secluded place as recommended for the yogis especially. But that will also not help a person in spiritual advancement, for in many instances such yogis also fall down. As far as jnanis are concerned, generally they fall down without taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. The impersonalists or the voidists can simply avoid the positive material association. They cannot remain fixed in transcendence without being engaged in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to hear about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is recommended in this verse Vina harir gunapiyusha panat. One must drink the nectar of the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this means that one must be always engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. It is the prime method for advancing in spiritual life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommends this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If one wants to make advancement in spiritual life, by great fortune he may meet a bona fide spiritual master and from him learn about Krishna. By serving both the spiritual master and Krishna, he gets the seed of devotional service, Bhakti Lata Bija. And if he sows the seed within his heart and waters it by hearing and chanting, it grows into a luxuriant Bhakti Lata or Bhakti creeper. The creeper is so strong that it penetrates the covering of the universe and reaches the spiritual world and continues to grow on and on until it reaches and takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. An ordinary creeper also grows on and on until it takes a solid shelter on a roof. Then it very steadily grows and produces the required fruit. The real cause of the growing of such fruit, which is here called nectar, is hearing and chanting the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The purport is that one cannot live outside the society of devotees. One must live in the association of devotees, where there is constant chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord. The Krishna consciousness movement is started for this purpose, and there are hundreds of ISKCON centers to give opportunity to all people to hear and chant and to accept the spiritual master. By not associating with persons who are materially interested, one can make solid advancement in going back home, back to Godhead. Artendriyarama sangoshtya trishnaya tam samatanam aparigrahena cha vivikta ruchya paritosha atmani vinakarer gunapiyusha panat. One has to make progress in spiritual life by not associating with persons who are simply interested in making money and sense gratification. Not only such persons, but one who associates with such persons should be avoided. One should mold his life in such a way that he cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. One can be thus elevated by losing taste for sense enjoyment. So we can say there are three sections here, or three themes. In the purport of Srila Prabhupada, and in the purport of Srila Prabhupada. One is describing the materialistic persons and what they are doing. They are interested in two activities, making money and sense gratification. Then another is description about yogis and jnanis who try to negate the material world, negate sense gratification, and renounce, but they do not have really a positive alternative. And the third is the description of a life of a devotee, development of a devotee. So we have karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti actually described here. Karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. So the beginning of spiritual life is described by Rupa Goswami. You know about these 9 stages described in the 10th verse of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which maybe somebody can read. Is it English?
But I can read the words or translation.
In the purport of the text 10, chapter 4, Adau Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya 4:10.
Being freed from attachment.
Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha.
No. In the purport, Adau Shraddha.
Fourth canto, 10th verse. Now what says?
There is some word here.
Yes.
Being free from attachment, fear and anger.
No.
4:10.
Read Adau Shraddha. Adau Shraddha. You can give it to Nanda Kumar.
Adho Shraddha Tada Sadhu Sangotha Bhajana Kriya Tato Nirtha Nivriti Syat Tato Nishtha Ruchi Tatha. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment, attains steadiness in self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Very more?
No, that's okay. So these are the stages. There are 9 stages from Shraddha to Prema. From Shraddha to Prema.
Here. Bhava, Prema. Yeah, these are the 2 words.
So, first there is this preliminary faith, and then you come to the association of devotees. Adau Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. And devotees teach you how to follow certain principles, spiritual principles, bhajana kriya, and get initiation. And then you engage in the process, and then the purification starts, anartha nivriti, being free from unwanted habits and unwanted desires. And then you develop faith, which is a stronger faith. And when you develop stronger faith, then you get taste or ruchi. And then there is asakti and bhava and prema. You develop attachment, and then you develop preliminary stage or attain preliminary stage of love of God, and then prema is the ultimate goal. So these stages are described, and we are now, some devotees are initiated, some are not. So usually we are on the anartha nivriti stage, but we also taste something, we also have some faith. So it's not that from 1st April I don't have any more anartha nivriti stage. It's not like this. It's overlapping in one sense. So this here, what is described, is also anartha, like just desire to make money for sense gratification. So we have unwanted habits. And we know that we also struggle with habits, even within Krishna consciousness, different habits. So actually, we will not be 100% perfect until we get the spiritual body. There will be always some imperfection. And now, due to this situation, it's amazing, everything has stopped. Everything has stopped. I mean, restaurants are closed, there is no sports events, there is no music events, entertainment. I think also movies are not, no movies. So people still have internet at home, they can watch movies at home. And as they say that people have been neglecting their families. If you work, then you neglect your family because you're working all day. But now they are forced to spend time with their families, to play with their children or listen to their children.
To teach them.
Huh?
To teach them.
To teach them.
Yeah, because the schools are close to the...
Oh, yes. Yes. Also there is sometimes classes through the TV. Some schools do classes through the TV. But so much has been taken away, and I think it's based on the principle, if you misuse it, you will lose it. So we have been misusing this world for such a long time, and now we actually are losing. People have lost things. Losing the sense gratification. Everything is being lost. Now, yesterday I got one text, translated from French, about vibrations. Somebody sent me a text about vibrations. And it says that coronavirus has a low vibration. And if you vibrate on a higher level, it goes away. So what does it mean? What is a low vibration? Is like negative emotions. That's a low vibration. So if you are in the mode of goodness and you cultivate positive emotions, and also the highest vibration is chanting of Hare Krishna, but without offenses, then coronavirus is not very interested in this. So now it doesn't mean one should not wash his hands and chant Hare Krishna or avoid talking to people very closely. And also they sent me a video which shows how to wash hands. So, but they do it by some black cream. So they show with this black cream how actually every millimeter of the hands should be washed if you want to wash your hands properly, from here, like this. But this thing about vibrations is very important. And yesterday one devotee told me, I am chanting 16 rounds again thanks to the virus. Because there is some fear. And then showed me a video of two families getting together with children and chanting. Or everybody's chanting, children also chanting japa and going back and forth. So we call this problem opportunity. Every problem is an opportunity. So this problem is an opportunity, and now they say there will be economic backlash on this because many businesses are not working, so people are losing money, and people are losing jobs. People are losing jobs. So all this is an arrangement by providence. And what is providence?
Krishna.
This arrangement by providence to make us more serious. Unfortunately, we don't get serious until it hurts too much, or until it becomes extremely difficult. Only then most people become serious about spiritual life. So this is third-class intelligence. You have to be beaten to understand. You don't understand by hearing. And that means that Kalau Shudra Sambhava, in Kali Yuga, everyone is Shudra. Fourth-class intelligence. You see, when you point one finger to him, three are pointed to you. So those devotees who are watching, you don't see what's happening here in the temple or some heavy exchange. Kutumba Baranena Ma. Here it's interesting that when we read about Srila Prabhupada, Harisari Prabhu mentioned Prabhupada had a mild disgust, so mild disappointment with what they have done. And here it says Vivikta Ruchya. Vivikta Ruchya means disgusted taste. Ruchya means taste and Vivikta means disgusted. So it's interesting that this mentioned in the Bhagavatam, what was mentioned in Srila Prabhupada's pastimes, Srila Prabhupada's service and activities on this planet. So people have been neglecting spiritual values of life. They have been neglecting spiritual values of life for a long time. And Srila Prabhupada exposes everything. He says even religious people are interested only in self-gratification. So what is the prayer of religious people who want to enjoy this world? God, give us our daily bread. But not only bread, give us health, give us money, give us games. And so they have developed very expert skills how to waste time. Well, they have quizzes and they have games and they have different movies. And once when I was in Ireland, then we were discussing why devotees watch movies, Monday movies. What do you think? Why devotees watch Monday movies? It's materialistic movies. Mundane movies. Movies that have nothing to do with spiritual life.
Because it's poison.
Because?
Because they find it interesting.
Why? Did you ask them?
I watch movies sometimes, that's why I'm saying.
Oh, okay, you're very honest. But honest doesn't only mean to admit your mistakes.
Yes.
Honest means that you work to correct mistakes also.
Yes.
People say, I'm honest. I'm in Maya. And I'm attached to sinful activities, so I'm honest. But this is not honesty, this is the beginning of honesty. So, now, this is very interesting. We actually, in the beginning, we get attached to rules and we become like a big judge. If we follow a little bit, then we are judging everybody else who is not following. Or if somebody is doing something, maybe you are not watching movies, and then you criticize all the devotees who are watching movies. So we have this tendency. But actually, if you look at how Srila Prabhupada preached, he said you cannot take away something from the child without giving the child something else as a replacement. You have to give something else. And therefore we read the other day about param drishtva nivartate, about the higher taste. So we have to give something that can replace what people are trying to get. They're trying to get some satisfaction from sense gratification activities. So we have to give them something as a replacement. Not just take away, but give something instead. Give something instead. Like sometimes child finds a knife, an interesting toy. Maybe by accident the child finds a knife in the kitchen and starts to play with this. And then the mother freaks out, or the father, and snatches from the hand. Leave it! Give it to me! And the child starts crying like anything, especially if it's a small child. Because the child has just found a toy, and now it's taken away, and now the child has nothing. So similarly, if Prabhupada would say, if Srila Prabhupada would come and just give us prohibitions, how would we feel? No meat, no gambling. Okay, maybe you were not gambling. No intoxication. So many devotees were taking intoxication, and no illicit sex. So he would just say, you have to follow these prohibitions. There's and just renounce like this. So how would we feel that we have nothing? And people also feel when we say these 4 principles, they say, but then what is left? When we say 4 principles, what is left? If you don't do these 4 activities, what are you doing anyway? And we say, oh, we do so many things. We do so many things. And now acharyas showed flexibility in replacing things like I heard Srila Prabhupada was telling devotees to use curd or cheese and to make it like meat, to look like meat. And devotees are making sausages in Czech Republic, sausages that are vegetarian, but they look like meat and almost taste like meat for those who like meat. And in the restaurant in Ljubljana, Slovenia, they now have 3 places, 3 restaurants, devotees. It's going well. So they have this seitan, and it looks like a steak. And one big meat eater came to visit. One big meat eater who really loves meat, he came and he asked, do you have govedina? Govedina is a meat from the cow. And the manager of the restaurant, Govinda's restaurant, said, we don't have govedina, we have govindina. He said, what is that? Govindina? Govindina? Well, I will bring you one burger with govindina. And he tried this, and he said, wow, this is so good. This is better than meat. This was a successful replacement of something. He didn't the manager didn't just tell him, you should stop eating meat, you will go to hell. But he actually, he gave him something better instead. He gave him this huge burger, which you had to have huge mouth, like Mick Jagger, to bite, even to start biting. I mean, when I get this burger, I actually open it, cut it, and then eat it, because I cannot bite it. I cannot bite it. So replacement, to give proper replacement is actually the art of preaching and the art of convincing people to give up something. Because in Kali Yuga we are very weak. We cannot give up anything. We cannot give up anything. We are spoiled very much. So, and if you don't get something instead, then we are not able to renounce anything. And then when people come, they get so shocked how much sense gratification is in the Hare Krishna movement. The colors, the lights, the smells, and what to speak of food, music, dance, beautiful people. I mean, it's just shocking for the senses. I remember my former spiritual master, when he came to the temple for the first time, he was standing in the back, and he looked at the altar and he didn't see anything, he just saw the light. He just saw the light. He was thinking, wow, there is a light there, and they are dancing in front of the light. That's amazing, because light is something, positive, it's something good. And then later he realized, oh, there is something there, somebody.
standing there.
Yeah. So it's just, I remember when I came to Italy for the first time, to Villa Vrindavan, this was shocking. Guru Puja. First they're jumping and then they fall on the floor and scream like anything. They are spinning when they are dancing, and oh my God. So I was jumping and then I fall on the floor and I felt, wow, this is shocking. But I saw that these people are enjoying. These people are enjoying so much. But I never thought that they take intoxication, because people think that devotees are actually on drugs. How can you be so happy in this miserable world? Unless you are intoxicated. But I didn't think that. And then there was one Swami with big eyes and glasses and with a stick. So there is all these people, like dancing, but then one has a stick. And I was thinking, maybe he will hit somebody with this. So better I stand further from him, because maybe if he gets fired up, he will hit me or poke me. And he was just jumping like this, very straight, up and down. And others were jumping in all kinds of ways, but he was jumping up. And then he gave class. So everybody becomes very sweat, little smell. And then everybody sits down and he's talking. And I was thinking, wow, these people are really amazing. And it was a packed temple room, packed. It was bigger than this. So it was shocking for the senses, shocking for the mind. And then another shock was that I didn't have anybody to talk to, because they speak only Italian. So therefore I got frustrated after 3 days, and I hitchhiked to Vienna, to Austria. And there I found devotees who speak English, more English. And then what happened, actually they engaged me immediately in translating books, because they didn't have translators, and also they took me away from the temple. I was first very delighted to find the second temple in Europe. I didn't know where are the temples, or if they exist at all. And they took me away from the temple, where you have altar, you have, better prasadam, and put me in one small house with 5-6 other devotees who were all translating. Because at that time we didn't have many books, so we were always on the marathon to produce books, to translate books. And then I felt very frustrated. So I ran away. I said, I'm going home. But then one Mataji, who was writing me letters before I visited for the first time, she was writing me nice letters, Vrindavani. She said, well, our Guru is coming in a few days, stay at least a couple of days, a couple of more days, why should you go now? And then I said, well, I feel claustrophobic, I feel like we are in this house closed, I cannot go out, I always have to put a hat on my head, and I need air. They didn't let us go out. We were always translating whole day. And you are outside of Vienna, some small place. And I said, okay, I can stay a few more days. And then my former guru came. And I wanted to speak to him. I asked, is it possible to speak to him? They say yes, but it was not true. Because he was so busy. He came to give class, but he was shining. When he sat on the Vyasasana, he was shining, he was amazing. And it was actually December 82 marathon, book distribution marathon at that time. But for me, everything was so shocking. I mean, for the senses, for the mind blowing. It was so shocking. So sometimes devotees go to people and preach, you are suffering. And then they say, you are suffering. I am enjoying. You see how you are frustrated. You are going with these books like a slave around, and trying, to sell for some small money or begging for donations. And I'm here, I'm rich, I'm enjoying. I'm eating, I'm etc. Other activities. And so we try to tell people that they are suffering, but actually they don't believe us because they think they are enjoying more than us. So how can people become attracted to Krishna consciousness? By which kind of preaching? Only if they see that we enjoy more. Only if they see that we enjoy more. You cannot come to somebody with very dark face and long face and say, be happy. You be happy. So, but you are not happy. How can you teach me how to be happy when you are long face, you are frustrated? Yeah. So why are you frustrated? Oh, I am frustrated because I cannot digest all this prasadam that I am eating. There is lunch for breakfast, lunch for lunch, and lunch for dinner. 3 lunches. So how can you digest this? Even if you're young, it's not so easy. So, and then you become a little depressed because of indigestion, and then you look really like sad. You look sad. So we cannot convince people that they will be happy with Krishna consciousness if we are not happy. But when somebody experiences higher taste, then it's very difficult to forget it. So some people want to leave Krishna consciousness, take drugs, watch TV and try to enjoy in different ways. And then after some years they come back and they say, it doesn't work. I tried it for the last time. So let me do some service. I'm fallen, but let me do some service. So this spiritual taste is so powerful. So if you give a little taste to people in the form of holy name, prashadam, books, association, then they will never forget it. So you're giving this seed. And then the seed of bhakti is there, and then it will grow. Then it will grow. And here it's described how it grows. The seed of bhakti grows into a creeper and goes up, 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 and penetrates the material coverings of the universe and goes to the lotus feet of Krishna. So gardening is a very nice metaphor for Krishna consciousness and for life in general. Gardening, you're always watering something or someone. So we are watering devotees with the shower.
And also the tree, the Udamula Adashakam, the banyan tree, which represents the shadow of the spiritual world.
Okay, that's a different.
It's also something in the tree.
Yes, that's also like a plant metaphor. So, you seem enthusiastic to speak. So from the next week, we will have 10-minute classes by everybody.
Oh, everybody.
So now,
Everybody.
how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Everybody.
And there is more devotees here. Prabhu Kumar,
Rishi Kumar.
Rishi Kumar.
Nand Kumar.
Then Keshava Prabhu and his wife
Kisha Kumar.
Ekayari.
Kumar.
So we will try to see if this is possible that
Kumar.
everybody preaches, and then you can also go live to the whole world. Anyway, maybe we first do it privately.
Nand Kumar means son of Nanda Maharaj.
So the whole point of this person purport is actually that you give class. You know, that you start to preach more vigorously. The other day I saw Bhakti Nirina talking to some girls, you know, introducing them to Krishna consciousness. Did they come back? Or?
They couldn't because we were closed.
Oh yes, yeah. We are emotionally not closed. We are only physically closed. But they can talk to you on the internet. They can talk to you on the internet. So receiving new people, and also on the internet, somebody sends you a friend request and you look and who is this guy? Strange. But actually you never know. Actually sometimes this person is a very sincere seeker and they need support in Krishna consciousness. So online you can do a lot of preaching online. So you can save yourself by doing service here and, you know, chanting Hare Krishna while you are cleaning or cooking or shopping. But actually you should become a preacher. And preaching doesn't mean only talking. Preaching means many things. Become a friend, be supportive, help people in every possible way, learn how to guide them from Shraddha to Prema, help them when they face difficulties, be their friend when the sun is shining, and be their friend when the rain is falling. In every situation, be there for them. And we will speak about this more, about developing a preaching spirit, preaching. And we are, in the evening we discussed this crisis and we spoke about fearlessness yesterday, fearlessness, to become fearless. So this is an opportunity to become fearless. And okay, these are some thoughts about this verse and purport. Do you have any questions? Yes?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Why a person is attracting to a mundane film? What is the weakness of him? How he can overcome that?
Oh, weakness.
Why he is watching that mundane movies? What is the weakness? How he will overcome that?
You are representing probably 80% of ISKCON members. Or 90% of ISKCON members. It's a question. You are like Maharaj Parikshit.
Yeah, yesterday.
Asking for the benefit of others. Yes, I'm 17 years old. 17. 16. He's 16. I'm 60. Similar sound. That's a very sincere question. So, actually, I explained in this class that we cannot just take away movies from people, but we have to give them Krishna conscious movies. So, little Krishna, little Krishna, then I like this movie, Nimai of Nadia, this old movie. You know that movie? Vaja Goranga, Vaja Goranga. Then Mahaprabhu is in ecstasy and I didn't watch that one. Haridas Thakur. There is this Tukaram movie. And then movies about Prabhupada, they're all like Your Ever Well-Wisher and Following Srila Prabhupada and Hare Krishna, the Swami, and how it goes, Swami, the movement he started.
The mantra, the Swami,
and the movement he started. Yes, the mantra, the Swami, and the movement he started. Hare Krishna, I mean, there is Indian movies, Mahabharata series. There is a movie about Srila Prabhupada's life. This movie is Abhay Chara. And then devotees make wonderful plays, like you made a play for Gaur Purnima. It's such a fun, and Srila Prabhupada loved this. And sometimes he would watch, and he would say, "Oh, Mr. Hiranyakashipu was very good." One devotee was playing Hiranyakashipu. Srila Prabhupada liked. He was very authentic. He was just very real demon. So Mr. Hiranyakashipu was especially convincing, like this, authentic. So by threatening people, we will not inspire them to give up certain things, but only by giving them something better. And also for yourself, if you get something better, you will be able to give up other things. And now there is one relatively new devotee, Bhaktin. She couldn't give up smoking. But now the instructions about coronavirus is that you actually have to give up smoking also. And now her and her father and her mother, because they also heard about these threats, there is a threat of death. You will die very soon if you don't give up smoking. I mean, they heard this before, but they were not convinced. Even on the box of cigarettes it says it's dangerous for health, but they don't take it seriously. But now, because on the internet they see the threats that actually corona will become your guest. If you continue smoking, then they are by threatening, maybe they will give up, maybe not. But you need to have a replacement. And therefore I recommend find pleasure in chanting, find pleasure in dancing, find pleasure in preaching. Preaching is the greatest happiness, and the best preaching is a happy devotee. So try to smile. How can you be happy in Krishna consciousness if you are not happy? Well, one way to be happy is to be grateful. To be grateful non-stop, 24 hours a day. Because happiness gladly enters a grateful heart. You understand that? Happiness gladly enters a grateful heart. And happiness does not enter ungrateful heart. One Bhaktin was telling me, wow, we should be screaming from the rooftops in gratitude what we have gotten. She has this realization that, wow, my God, we have gotten such a gift. She's so grateful, and she's chanting a lot. But not just chanting, mechanically, but chanting with great enthusiasm and determination. So if you develop this higher taste, you will be able to inspire other people to get higher taste, and then they will not be interested. So actually I didn't finish what I wanted to say about the movies, now you reminded me, is that they find something, in the movies you find some emotion, you find some rasa, some exchange, there is some love, so-called love, or tragedy sometimes, or comedy. So you want to feel good, or you want to feel excited, or you want to feel challenged, or you want to feel that you have fallen in love. And you see other people falling in love and you think, this is so nice, she loves him so much, maybe I can be her hero. But no woman loves me. And in Krishna consciousness it's all very restricted. You cannot have romance, and you have to get married immediately. Even without knowing each other, you have to get married, because it's bogus to talk to a girl. And I say, better get to know each other well before you commit to such a responsibility as marriage. Get to know each other well. So I posted on Facebook dialogue. A woman says, can you digest my dark side? And he says, yes. And she says, we shall see. It's a freezing statement. Freezing, we shall see. So both have dark sides, not only a woman. To be fair. So when you meet a person, then you only look at the good qualities, but actually you get a whole package. So you have to give people something better. And therefore you need to first experience it. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.